So the state of Washington has now signed their assault weapons ban into law, but they have been sued immediately. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump in this video, if you think a ban on so-called assault weapons is clearly unconstitutional, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is TacPack. TacPack is a subscription-based box that delivers tactical and EDC gear to your front door every single month. Every month, TacPack's team puts together a box with a bunch of products that you will actually find useful in your everyday life, whether you're going to the range, you're at home, or maybe even if you're going to work. TacPack offers two different boxes. They have the standard box and the plus box. And personally, my favorite is the plus box because you get a lot of value. And right now, TacPack is actually doing something really interesting for my viewers. If you use the code ARMED, you will receive a free mystery box along with your subscription. So go check out TacPack. I will leave a link to them down below. Make sure you use that code that I mentioned, ARMED, for that free mystery box. And make sure you sign up before April 30th to get that additional box. So check them out, and thank you again to TacPack for sponsoring this video. As I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we're going to be discussing the horrible assault weapons ban that the state of Washington has now passed and signed into law. And in reaction to that, a lawsuit has been filed immediately against the state of Washington by the Second Amendment Foundation, SAF, and also Firearms Policy Coalition. This gun control law in the state of Washington is one of the more radical pieces of gun legislation that we've seen passed in a very long time. And the lawsuit here seeks to stop this immediately before it has broad ramifications on all the gun owners in the state of Washington. So first, this new Washington assault weapons ban is also known as HB 1240, and it states that no person in the state may manufacture, import, distribute, sell, or offer for sale any assault weapon except as authorized in this section. So there is a general ban on so-called assault weapons in the state. This is a prospective ban, which means that it will ban all future sales and purchases of so-called assault weapons, and it's effective immediately, and it's effective right here and now because the governor has signed it. There are some exemptions from the language, for example, law enforcement agencies, military branches, people who have grandfathered assault weapons that they maybe want to sell to someone out of state, or if someone is coming into possession of a firearm because maybe a family member has passed away. But for the average law-abiding person, this is going to be a future ban on all purchase and sale of so-called assault weapons. In Section 2 of this law, one of the first things you see it create is a list of makes and models that they are classifying as so-called assault weapons. This is similar to what California originally did with their Roberti Rus list. In the state of Washington, the law will have 65 expressly named firearms that they now are saying and are considering as so-called assault weapons, and they are going to be prohibiting the sale of those items going forward. Even in this list, there are broader bans like all forms of AK-47, 74s, AR-15s, or anything that resembles those types of items. And what this does is it creates a broader classification of banned items. Now, after the list of makes and models, the state of Washington in their law goes ahead and does something similar to what California did, and that is a characteristics ban. The state of Washington actually learned from California and made their characteristics ban even more inclusive than what California has. They even go so far as to ban fin grips, any muzzle devices, any forward grips, and also any threaded barrels. Washington also went ahead and targeted the purchase and sale of parts and combination of parts and conversion kits. So even parts and combination of parts and these conversion kits on their very own can be defined as so-called assault weapons, and therefore their future sale is prohibited. Now, there's a lot more to this law, but that's generally what you need to know. If you need more information, you can watch one of my prior videos. But just understand this is a future ban on the sale and purchase of a broad range of firearms. Now, the governor has signed this bill into law, and immediately SAF and FBC filed a lawsuit against them. In the lawsuit, the plaintiffs state that plaintiffs seek declaratory and injunctive relief, a declaration that Washington's ban on manufacturing, importing, distributing, selling, or offering for sale commonly possessed semi-automatic rifles violates the Second and 14th Amendments, and an injunction compelling defendants to refrain from enforcing the invalid ban. The plaintiffs go on to state in their complaint that the defendants will be unable to meet their burden. Heller and Bruin have already established the only historical tradition that can remove a firearm from the Second Amendment's protective scope, the tradition of banning dangerous and unusual weapons. But to be banned, a firearm must be both dangerous and unusual. Arms that are in common use, as the firearms Washington has banned unquestionably are neither unusual nor dangerous. Therefore, they cannot be banned, and Washington's laws challenged herein must be declared unconstitutional. Then in the lawsuit, they go through and outline the variety of things that are now going to be banned in the state of Washington and are going to be banned from being sold and purchased going forward. SAF states that the banned semi-automatic rifles traditionally have been widely accepted as lawful possessions, and they are in common use. Rifles built on the AR style platform are the paradigmatic example of the type of arm Washington bans. AR in short is Armalite rifle. Armalite originally designed the platform. AR-15 rifles are among the most popular firearms in the nation, and they are owned by millions of Americans. A recent survey of gun owners indicates that about 24.6 million Americans have owned AR-15s or similar modern semi-automatic rifles, with the median owner identified as owning a single rifle. So here SAF is pointing out that the type of firearms being banned in the state of Washington are in common use across the entire US, and they are owned by millions of law-abiding gun owners. And in no way can the state of Washington prove that these are dangerous and unusual. Instead, these types of firearms are clearly in common use. Then the plaintiffs point out in their lawsuit that calling these types of firearms assault weapons is just using political buzzwords essentially. They state that the banned semi-automatic firearms, like all other semi-automatic firearms, fire only one round for each pull of the trigger. They are not machine guns. What is more, the designation assault weapons is a misnomer, developed by anti-gun publicists in their crusade against the lawful firearms ownership. Now, this is something, of course, that we all know, especially us on the pro-gun side. We know that the anti-gun side loves to characterize these types of firearms as scary assault weapons or military-style rifles, but in reality, they're just simply semi-automatic rifles. Also in the lawsuit, the plaintiffs walk through and tear down all the anti-gun kind of public interest arguments that maybe they put forward for this ban. They explain that the AR-15 round is not insanely lethal like the anti-gun side likes to say, where it just completely blows the body up. So they talk about how the AR-15 round, the 223-556, is not this crazy lethal round. Also, they point out that the banned features like pistol grips, telescoping stocks, and all those other characteristics that the state of Washington are banning are just simply in place for ergonomics, and they are also essential to help an individual actually use this type of firearm for self-defense. And because of that, the plaintiffs asked for a preliminary injunction and also a permanent injunction against the state of Washington's ban on so-called assault weapons. Now, I would also suspect that maybe a TRO is coming really soon, or some sort of emergency relief being filed against the state of Washington. Since this law goes into effect immediately, which it's been signed into law, so it's in effect, the goal now of these lawsuits is to try to get some sort of emergency relief to maintain the status quo until the lawsuit can fully develop. So that's also going to be something that's going to be the goal of this lawsuit, and likely others, is to get a TRO or some sort of emergency relief. So that's just a quick breakdown of the new Washington assault weapons ban that's now been signed into law, and the lawsuit filed immediately in response to it being signed. Now, shout out to SAF and the team over there. I've worked with a lot of those people over there at SAF who are now with them. They do great things. They are filing awesome lawsuits like this. So if you want to support them, I will leave a link down below to SAF where you can go donate to them. Helps them kind of file these lawsuits like this, helps them with these lawsuits. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link down below. And of course, if anything else develops like a TRO or some sort of emergency relief, I will let you all know. Also, if you like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of toy news. As always, I want to thank all of you who like, comment, subscribe, who hit the notification bell, who share these videos. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, and helping me to reach and educate more people than I could ever do on my own. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.